Hello everybody, this is the iPhone channel here. Over here is Windows Phone, and as you guys all know, in 2025 Windows Phone is dead as a dodo, and today I'm actually going to take a look at what is usable and what is unusable in Windows Phone. And if you don't know, this is actually Windows Phone 8.1. Unfortunately, I could not really upgrade to Windows Mobile 10, despite the fact the Nokia Lumia 635 actually supports Windows 10 Mobile. So why not? Without further ado, guys, let's go. Now, the first thing I want to show you guys is this phone is actually the Nokia Lumia 635, which was a budget phone released in 2014, and the 1GB variant could actually run Windows 10 Mobile, but you could no longer update to Windows 10 Mobile due to the servers shutting down. Even with the YouTube tutorials of downloading through the PC, it still didn't work. And as you guys can see, it actually runs Windows Phone 8.1 over here. But first off, let me tell you guys a history about Windows Phone. First off, Windows Phone did not start out as Windows Phone. It actually started out as Windows CE, which was first released in 1996 as a Windows operating system for mobile and embedded OSs. The mobile variant was sold as a pocket PC, and later in 2003, Windows Mobile was released and it featured some new mobile features. Fast forward to Windows Mobile 6.5, Windows Mobile started being stale and no longer competitive with iOS or Android, the two shining operating systems, so Microsoft decided to shell at least a few $billion in research and development to make Windows Phone competitive. And then here comes Windows Phone 7, which had a slick Metro UI compared to the skeuomorphic icons on iOS 4, and the live tiles were very dope. The problem is the app support was mediocre. There were no Google apps, and for the first several years, there was no Instagram. This is further exacerbated by the fact Microsoft charges $100 per year, similar to Apple, to publish apps onto the Windows Phone store, whilst Google only charges $25 fixed to publish apps onto the Play Store. Coupled in with the fact Microsoft is charging OEMs a licensing fee, many OEMs flocked to Android en masse, and Microsoft had to purchase Nokia for $7 billion at a time in the serendipitous moment when Stephen Elop actually came to spearhead the in-house mobile division just to stay afloat. With fewer and fewer sales, it was too little, too late, and even though Windows 10 Mobile was released in 2016, development stopped on the 9th of October 2017, and support ended in the beginning of 2020. In 2020, the Windows Phone shut down, and as of 2025, you can no longer update to Windows 10 Mobile over the air. Now, even though Windows Phone is unsupported, you could actually still use it as an internet device, mainly for watching YouTube videos, searching on Google, and of course, watching porn. Yes, the two biggest sites to work. I'm not going to mention it before getting demonetized. And of course, you could still use Windows Phone as a camera, especially with the Nokia Lumia 1020, which actually has a 41 megapixel camera in 2013. And you could use the Windows Phone as a dumb calculator, but other than that, it is kind of a bit useless. But first off, let's go through the specs, shall we? Now, this Nokia Lumia 635 actually has a 4.5-inch IPS LCD 854 by 480 screen with a pixel density up to 18 pixels per inch, and this phone has Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which means it is quite durable at the time. And this phone has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 quad-core 1.2 GHz ARM Cortex-A7 CPU with Adreno 305 GPU and 1GB of RAM, or you could get a half a gigabyte of RAM variant, but I'm not sure how you could actually decipher the RAM to actually download Windows 10 Mobile. I did not really check, and I could not really check, to be honest. And the Lumia 635 actually comes with 8GB of storage. However, you could actually expand up to 128 gigs via micro SD. And this phone actually ships with Windows Phone 8.1, but it could be upgradable to Windows Mobile 10 if you actually have at least 1 gig of RAM. And fun fact, this phone does have a removable battery over here. Let me show you guys. And the battery is actually 1830 milliamp hours, which is quite sufficient at the time, especially for a budget phone. And if you don't know, like even 10 years ago, 11 years ago, you could actually buy this phone for $50 through GoPhone. Yes, I'm not even joking. I actually bought several of them when I was actually a teenager, to be honest, just because I was curious of how Windows Phone actually worked. but I actually did a drop test and destroyed it. So unfortunately I did have to buy this phone instead of the Go Phone one, which actually ran Windows 10 Mobile, because in 2015 I could actually install Windows 10 Mobile, to be honest, but now I couldn't. Now this phone actually does offer Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN, USB 2.0, a micro USB connector over there, as well as a single 5 megapixel camera, which is actually f2.4 with 720p video, and no flash, no selfie camera whatsoever. Okay guys, here is how you unlock. Power off. And this functions just like the iPhone. As you guys can see, slide down to power off, but I'm not going to power it off. And over here is actually the power button. Over here are the volume rockers and stuff. As you guys can see, the FM radio still works, so you can actually use this phone as a radio, yes. I only paid $15 for this. And as you guys can see, this is actually where the speaker is. And over there is actually the micro USB connector. Over there is actually the headphone jack. And as you guys can see, over there is actually the camera. And the cover is actually interchangeable. Now this is actually blue, but with Go Phone you actually have matte black. And over here is the back button, as well as multitasking. And you could actually X some apps out over here, like Office, and of course settings, and the about. And as you guys see, this is actually the start button over here. Yes, kind of like the home button. And over here is the search. But the Microsoft account is actually required, but the servers are down. As you guys can see, I cannot really go past the screen at all whatsoever, so I do believe this is actually a fail. But why not? Let's test this simple camera, shall we? Over here is actually the Lumia camera. And yes, this camera is very simplistic. Like, it really doesn't have any cluster features except maybe autofocus. And unfortunately, there's no flash. You can't really enable it. Yes, as you guys can see, and I'll show you guys the camera samples. Okay guys, over here is the Lumia 635. I'm actually going to go out now. And as you can see, this is what the camera actually looks like. There is no selfie camera whatsoever. And recording in the dark will be absolutely pathetic. Now over here is the dark video sample. There's actually no flash and it's extremely cold, as you guys can see. Unfortunately, the camera is not very good, as this is a budget phone, even 11 years ago. But in reality, if I shot this on a Nokia Lumia 1020, then it would be miles better. But why not? Let's test out the phone. This is what the phone app actually looks like. It still works, but you cannot really call or text or anything, just because this Lumia 635 is affected by the 3G shutdown due to the fact it does not offer 4G VoLTE LTE, despite the fact this is actually a 4G LTE phone. Now, on the AT&T network, the Lumia 640 and 950 could still call and text, just because both of these phones actually support 4G VoLTE LTE, and they're not affected by the 3G shutdown in any means. However, let's try some more apps, shall we? Over here is actually the mail, and unfortunately I tried Gmail, but it does not really work. It does sort of work, but I could not really select allow or anything, so I'm kind of stuck. And Yahoo Mail, no. Outlook, definitely a fail for sure. And over here is the people section. Now you could actually add contacts and stuff, import contacts from SIM, and even add some contacts and stuff. You could actually add photos, the name, preferred email, as well as the mobile phone and stuff. So this is essentially just a contacts app. And over here is actually the internet. So I'm actually going to search for Google. Over here it is. And it would show back in the fallback version. And it is incredibly slow. Excruciating, to be honest. YouTube. Okay guys, you cannot really load youtube.com, so it did have to load in another way. I actually have to search up my own channel, yes. Over here. And actually click on the video just to watch a video, and I'll show you guys a speaker test once the video actually loads. I'm not really sure how long it will load, but after a good 30 seconds guys, it finally loads. Over here you could actually play the video, sort of, to be honest. Dong Tech Challenge, aka $100. I'm actually going to buy $100 worth of technology in Vietnam, just like many YouTubers who actually did an India challenge, aka Mr. Who's the Boss. Unfortunately, you cannot really do much of YouTube, to be honest. But why not? Over here is apple.com to see if I could actually buy a new iPhone. It's quite slow, to be honest. But still, even with this much time, I could still load, albeit barely, to be honest. Yeah, it's mainly like unintelligible gibberish with some text, which is intelligible, to be honest. But why not? I'm actually going to load Microsoft.com, which is far more useful, to be honest. And I'll show you guys how long it actually loads. Yeah, the internet is ridiculously slow on this phone. Now, the internet's not really slow at my apartment in Cambridge, but it is really slow on this phone, to be honest. I tried searching YouTube and stuff, and it just takes forever. But yeah, Apple and Google at least could load, but I'm not too confident of municipal websites and stuff. I know. Jesus, what the hell is this? Amazon also failed to load, but Facebook works, however. Now I would not believe Harvard.edu would actually work. Well, it actually works, ironically, but you need an update. MIT.edu, why not? Unfortunately, this phone is a bit slow compared to others. But as you can see, guys, the website did at least load, sort of. It does take a while, at least 20 to 30 seconds each site, to be honest. But still, yeah. At least you can still use the internet, sort of, but I would not expect much. There is no Chrome here. You cannot really download anything off the Windows Phone store, so what you have is what you have, unfortunately. And yes, my video might take so long, to be honest. However, I'm actually going to call this a pass, because it took at least 50 seconds to load the whole site. Yes, 50 seconds. But last up is actually boston.gov. Which is actually a bit faster, at least. And this is what it looks like. Kind of unintelligible gibberish, to be honest. But still, at least this is the very, very fallback version. But at least the photos, video, and music apps still work, just because they're actually first-party apps. The Windows Phone Store definitely no longer works, as the Windows Phone Store was actually decommissioned in early 2020. Cortana also no longer works because that too was actually decommissioned, but in 2021 instead. Now we're actually trying Here We Go Drive over here. And let me show you guys, the GPS does not work on this. As you guys can see, could not really update any traffic info, which is kind of ironic, to be honest. Which means this is effectively just a brick. Okay guys, here is Facebook, and the app does not really work anymore. You do have to use the mobile website. What about Skype? Well, here's Skype, and let me tell you guys, you can't. It does not work. You do have to connect to the store. And over here is Game Hub, which actually still works, ironically. And over there is actually a live tile. You could actually play some games here, but I heavily doubt any of these games actually work. But over here is Game Loft. I'm not even joking. And yeah, it's kind of cool. You actually have some games included. Wow. I kind of underestimated this. But as you can see, you could actually play a game on this. Yes, I'm not even joking. The graphics might be kind of a bit horrendous and laggy, but whatever. At least you could actually play at least a game, even though the Windows Phone store actually shut down more than 5 years ago. And let me show you guys a fun quirk about Windows Phone. You could actually unpin it over here, and you could actually minimize or maximize depending on what you want. And of course, you could actually turn off the live tile as well. However, you do have to go to the settings, then applications, and then that's how you actually disable the live tile. Over here it is. I thought it'd be like Windows 8 or something, but it isn't. Ironically, guess what does not work? The weather app, yes. Cannot connect to the weather app. Neither the news nor finance app would actually work. But a fun quirk is, before the introduction of low power mode on iOS 9, Windows Phone actually came out with battery saver. Yes, Windows actually have this feature before the iPhone. And yes, you could actually conserve battery life and also limit functionality as well in case you're in a forest or in a remote area, which is quite helpful, to be honest. And of course, the settings app actually still works. The alarm actually still works over here. You could actually add in an alarm, and you could actually wake up. So this could be quite a nice alarm, to be honest, especially if you want to silence your main phone. And of course, the calculator still works. This is quite a basic calculator, however. Yeah, you could actually do some trigonometric functions over here, like sin, cos, tan, and even the log, as well as 10 to the power of x. However, you could not really calculate the limit or the derivative of anything. So this is quite limited to only trigonometry, aka TI-83. Over here is the DataSense app, where you could actually see how much data you actually used. Unfortunately, it would not be very useful unless if you actually have the Lumia 640. And over here is actually the FM radio. It still works, to be honest, but you would actually have to connect to headphones. And yes, you might not be able to hear anything, but it is quite loud. And it does show the radio as well as the music being played. However, the Maps app does not really work anymore. As you guys can see, it would actually fail to fetch any location whatsoever at the end. And if I try to search anything, it cannot connect to search. So this is essentially just useless as hell. Unlike say the original iPhone, where it could still load maps, to be honest. messaging. Unfortunately, you cannot really text anybody, but this is going to be useful, especially if you have a Lumia 640 and you want to use it as sort of a dumb phone, to be honest, in its last few years. But guess what actually works? Office. Yes. Albeit, I do believe in offline modes, because online mode, everything is broken, to be honest. But you could actually write a document over here. This is a sample Word document. And yes, Office actually still works, which is quite crazy, to be honest. You could actually write notes and stuff, take notes. And of course, the podcast app would actually still work, sort of. But you cannot really expect much out of it. Yes, you cannot really expect much. And of course, the wallet app no longer works. Let me scroll down here. The wallet app. Now you cannot really add any new cards or anything. And of course, stuff like sports and travel would definitely not work. But it does not matter, because these are actually online services. And let me tell you guys, the very last feature that is actually special about Windows Phone, and that Samsung actually adopted years later, and that is actually display dock. On select devices, including the Nokia Lumia 950, aka Microsoft Lumia 950, you could actually connect the phone to a hub and then to a monitor, and then use your phone as sort of a PC. But instead of being full Windows, it is a very stripped down version of Windows that could only download stuff off the Windows Phone store, which does not work anymore, and could use the magnified apps based on your Windows Phone OS. And fun fact, Samsung actually replicated it with DeX like several years later, but Windows Phone was actually the first in the market with the Lumia 950. So conclusion, is Windows Phone actually worth it? In my opinion, probably not. For $15, you could actually buy some like used Android phone, which could actually function more. And for $15 more, you could actually buy the HMD Vibe if you want, say, a burner phone or like even a multimedia player. But in reality, it is a fun trip back in time to actually see what this operating system is capable of today. And I do believe you could actually take pictures, record videos and stuff, especially if you have a Nokia Lumia 1020. You could actually sort of browse the internet and potentially watch some YouTube videos and stuff. And of course, you could actually play some very, very basic games, which are actually included on this phone. And guess what? You could actually set the alarm clock as well as do some rudimentary tasks. So unfortunately, you cannot really do much, but there's actually an FM radio, which is quite helpful, to be honest. But in reality, you can't really do much. But it is actually a fun trip back in time. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and I'm gonna see you guys soon.